For someone listening right now that's looking up to you, I want that type of business. I want referral business. Were you intentional when you started that you wanted your business to look that way? And if so, how long did it take?
Let's see here. No, I wasn't intentional. I think, when realtors we start, we're like, oh, let's see what sticks, and we'll throw things on the wall and just kind of see where things land. But it organically became that way because I reached out to people that I knew and let them know I was in real estate. And because I've built a brand over the last almost 8 years that people they trust me because I'm going to steer them the right way. I will tell someone to literally run away from a house, which I have. I'm like, turn away. I don't want you to buy it. Because again, I want to sleep at night.
Hello, all you beautiful people. Welcome to Tampa Bay Unlocked, the podcast where we dive into the dynamic world of real estate and business in the vibrant Tampa Bay area. Join us as we sit down with top agents and industry leaders who share their insights, strategies, and stories of success. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, our interviews will unlock the secrets to thriving in one of Florida's hottest markets. Get ready to be inspired, informed, and motivated by experts shaping the future of Tampa Bay. Tune in and let's unlock the wisdom from our next guest, who has been featured in Tampa Bay Biz Journal. She's one of the top realtors on the top realtor list and featured in Who's in Real Estate Tampa Bay. And she's one of the top 5 realtors on HomeSnap and featured in the Real Producers magazine as a top agent. She sold over $35 million in homes last year. Courtney Stein, welcome to the show.
Well, hello, Ryan.
How are you?
Doing pretty well.
Was that a good introduction?
That's a great introduction. I feel so fancy.
I practiced.
You made me sound way cooler than I am.
No, that's good. Well, let's give credit where credit's due. You are pretty cool.
Why, thank you.
Yeah. I mean,
my dogs think so.
Of course they do. Isn't that neat? Unconditional love from a dog.
It is.
Man's best friend.
They're why I work so hard. Give my dogs a good life.
Love that. I just want to check. Are we good on the mic? Close enough? Okay. A little closer. There we go. All right. That's okay. So you, in our ecosystem of Keller Williams, are well known because of the way you show up in marketing and how you've really dived into your sphere of influence. You've shown us what that's all about. So I definitely want to talk about that. But I want to know, before real estate, who was Courtney Stein?
Ooh, okay. So before real estate, I was actually my background has always been marketing. So I went to USF in Tampa, Go Bulls. And I studied advertising, mass communications, and then dabbled in, I started my own consulting firm. And from there, I ended up working with Jersey Mike Subs. I was actually their regional marketing director. I opened all of the stores in the Southeast U.S. So when I started, we had 25 stores. And about the time that I ended up transitioning into real estate, we were at about 1,500.
Wow. Yeah. That was a lot.
Yes.
A lot of work.
Yes. And it was an amazing company, and it helped me to grow into who I am. But, I also, at the end of the day, wanted to start something that was just mine. And I loved everything that they stood for. And I was like, I can take pieces of that and build it into something that's for me.
Okay, so let's talk about that moment. I always like to get into the granular of a moment. So you're helping Jersey Mike's, you're opening stores, you're deep in the marketing world. And then, okay, you want to do something for you, but what led to real estate? Where was that conversation, thought process in your mind, and how did that go?
So while I was with the company, and again, I owe them so much, and my mentor, who's just like become family, that's where I met him, and he's just really helped shape me as the business person that I am and to think of things differently. But while I was there, towards the end of my career there, I had purchased a home, and I had a realtor. First realtor, didn't have a great experience, and was my first time buying a home, was going through, a bunch of personal things, and I ended up switching to a different realtor that just was a better fit, had my best interests, in mind. And after everything ended with that, I bought my home. I sat there and I said, okay, this is something that it got me really excited buying my home. I looked at the process and went, what are the things that I could do differently that would have made it a better experience, would have made it's a magical thing to buy your first home, but it's also absolutely terrifying. And there's so many touch points and so many hands in the pot. It's what could I have done better? So I kept going, okay, well, I can run circles around this, and I'm going to. So I sat down, I think a few months later, I said, I'm going to get my license, and I did. And
so the transition came out of a bad experience, and you realizing that there was room for improvement.
Yes.
How interesting. I love the little bit of the backstory you gave already because I can already see being in such a high level business world and marketing from opening so many stores. You now run your business similar to that. Like you show up in a very professional way. Mm-hmm. Do you attribute a lot of that of what you learned from a previous career?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I always feel like you should be authentic in everything that you do. And I'm going to move this on my fan. You should always be authentic in everything that we do and just be genuine, be yourself. I've never wanted, there's a lot of people out there where, it may feel fake or it may feel forced. And I wanted to start a business where it's like, I'm going to be me, whether I'm selling you a $5 million house or a $12 million house or a $200,000 house, you're going to get me. You're going to get the same version of me. I'm always going to show up at a very high level. I like to be able to sleep at night. So I'm always going to do things where it's like, I'm going to treat you like my sister. Like, what would I recommend my sister, to do in the situation or,
Isn't that so much less stressful when you show up that way?
Yes.
I don't know what it's like to show up the other way, but I can imagine it'd be pretty stressful.
Yeah, I think that there's already enough in the world where there's a lot of fakeness and a lot of just, everybody gets the highlight reel of people. And I'm like, I don't have the time nor the energy to act like anyone other than myself. And I like who I am. So I like who I am. And as long as I continue to show up and just be me, like the people who want to work with me, I'm going to get to work and build a friendship with every single client. And that's kind of how the business has grown is I meet someone, they're a client, they're a referral. We're pretty much 100% based on people referring friends and family and coworkers to us.
How long did it take you to get there? Because like for someone listening right now that's looking up to you, because there's something to look up to, whether you know it or not, they're thinking, I want that type of business. I want referral business. So how were you intentional when you started that you wanted your business to look that way? And if so, how long did it take?
Let's see here. No, I wasn't intentional. I think, when realtors we start, we're like, oh, let's see what sticks and we'll throw things on the wall and just kind of see where things land. And but it organically became that way because I reached out to people that I knew and let them know I was in real estate. And just because I've built a brand over the last almost 8 years that people they trust me because I'm going to steer them the right way. I will tell someone to literally run away from a house, which I have. I'm like, turn away. I don't want you to buy it. Because again, I want to sleep at night. But like a new agent that's looking right now, I would say be intentional. Like pick the things that you're really, really good at and don't try and be a master of everything. Be a master of like 1 or 2 or 3 things. And for me, it was always just relationships and being a human being and treating people like a person and treating them important the way that they deserve. You
skimmed over something real quick that I want to go back to. You said you built a brand.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that comes back to marketing. So to you, what is your brand?
My brand is
like how when someone's thinking about a brand, let's not talk about what is brand? Because put your marketing hat on. Let's go back. Like, okay, I've told I need to build a brand, need to have a brand, but what is it?
So for me, a brand, and this is the definition, but it's how people feel when they think of you, or when they think of your business. What is that innate feeling that they get when they think of you? Is it like when they think of Ryan, are they thinking hardworking, honest, integrity? Like what are those things? Like what are the words that you want to come to your mind when someone thinks of you?
That's fair. Okay, so were you intentional of like I'm building a brand when you started, and did you outline what you want your brand to be, or did it say, oh, you fell into what your brand is now and you're amplifying it?
I think when I initially started real estate, I just wanted to make up my income of my previous career. And I think a lot of people say that is, oh, I just want to make this much and then I can be my own boss, which, by the way, you're never technically your own boss. You are, but you're at the mercy of your clients. So initially, my first year, I probably wasn't very intentional. And then as I got my bearings and, really knew my craft and my contracts like the back of my hand, then I could start focusing on the bigger picture and the brand and where I wanted it to go.
Yeah, I feel like that's maybe, I'm glad you said that because I think for those starting out, there's so much, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, and it kind of slows them down. And so I want to get to all the meat and potatoes of that, but those first years are so foundational.
Yes.
And they're not talked about enough because people just see like, oh, you sold 37 million and that was great. And like, oh, but you didn't start out that way.
No.
So what was that first year like for you?
So first year, I was just doing it part-time nights and weekends where it wouldn't affect, my other job. And after about 7 months of doing it part-time, I decided to burn the ships. And I said, okay, I've got enough of consistency going with the business that I can, I'm ready to start my own company completely. So I did it for part-time for about 7 months, and then I jumped in full-time.
It's pretty quick.
Yes.
Yes. And so where did you attribute to that success? What were you doing that allowed you after 7 months to say, okay, I can burn the ships?
Well, firstly, I have a very supportive husband that he's just a good egg, and he loves me and supports me, and he knew I could do it. I think maybe more so than I felt like I could. It's a scary thing to burn the ships. It's a scary thing to go full time, to wake up every day and not. You're technically waking up unemployed every day. And if you don't hustle and you don't go hard every single day, you take your foot off the gas, and guess what? You don't have closings for 3 months. So I think that he was a big part of that, and I know not everybody has that, but he
critical.
Was,
it was an important piece to the puzzle.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. So you had that, but what were you doing in the day? So like you're working nights and weekends, but you're having this full-time job, which I think is an awesome story, because there's people that get into the business that are doing it full-time, but they're not finding traction. Right.
So with that, I mean, I was working my little tail off. I worked my full-time job, which was more than a 40-hour job week. 40-hour a week job.
40, yeah.
Can we cut that? Is that something that gets cut?
It's raw. We're natural. This is real.
So 40-hour a week job, and then again nights and weekends, and any free time that I had, which wasn't a lot, but I just covered myself in every class I could take. I stalked the lenders. I asked them every question I could. I found a couple really good lenders that I've leaned on, and they're still with me till today. So I think it's really important to find your partners that you're going to build your brand and your business with. So I work very closely with 2 lenders that I've had since day one, and they're one of also the reasons why I'm successful, why our team is successful, is because they're good. And, when we recommend someone, it's like I have to put my seal of approval on that. People judge me by who I work with.
Absolutely.
So that was important. But really, like my first 7 months, I wanted to get it to where I was closing 1 deal a month. And once that was consistent, then I felt like, okay, now I can burn the ships and move on to, doing
Did you feel an extra push once you made that leap? Because I think there's something special about not having a backup.
Oh, yeah. Not having a back. It's terrifying. It's absolutely one of the scariest things I've ever done was decide to become an entrepreneur and start my own real estate business. And it's grown to something that I never in a million years would have thought that it would be where it is today by any means, or where I hope it will go.
Never. You didn't think when you left your job that you'd be where you are now?
No.
Not even close?
No.
Or like half of it?
No.
Really?
No.
So when did things start to change in your mind? Because I think a lot of people say that when they start to find success in any type of business endeavor, and at the same time, we're told to have a vivid vision and to know where you want to go.
Yeah.
So what was I'm trying to figure out how to ask the question of like, in success, when were you like, oh, I'm succeeding what I thought was possible?
Yeah, that's a hard question. Not to get into too deep of it, but
like, was there a moment?
I think it just depends on the person too, and I don't know that there was a specific moment. I know like around the end of year 2 to beginning of year 3 was when I really started to get a lot of momentum and traction, and I went, wow, okay, this has legs, and it's just starting to snowball, which I think is common for a lot of agents. Is your 3rd year is really where, if you're hitting the pavement and you're grinding every single day, that's usually the point where you start to really blast off in your business. But then there's a lot of agents that they can't wait that long to get there, or they don't, or their passion's not in it. And so, business falls off. So I think if you can make it past like 3 to 4 years, then, and continue doing what you're doing and don't take your foot off the gas, is where business will really take off.
I've heard that. I remember Troy Walseth tell me that when I first got in the business. And I'm like, in 3 years, dude, I'm doing it faster.
It's a long time. It's a long time. But then you look back and you're like, oh, 3 years is nothing.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that moment, I'm thinking like now to Steinpalooza, right? When did that become a thing for you? And what is it?
Okay, so Stein and Palooza, which It's such a silly name.
No, it's amazing.
Yeah, Steinapalooza.
Yeah, it's great.
So Steinapalooza is it's an event that we do every year for our clients, and we go all out. Like we have basically a carnival. For our clients, we invite all of them, and we're like, "Hey, come make friends," because we get to pick and choose who we work with now, which is such a blessing, and we get to work with great people. So we want our great people to meet other great people, and just kind of become this big, huge, like cohesive family, all in the Tampa Bay area. But so we rent out these shuffleboard courts. We have a petting zoo. We have food trucks. We have live music. We have a band. We have competitions. Every year we add something. We did a vendor market last year, so we had all local businesses come and set up, and people could shop.
Are you shutting down a block for this? Like, where do you host this?
Yeah, so we do it. We pick different venues in St. Pete. Usually, it's we try to go with nonprofits. So the money, like everything we do, we want to support small business, support local. So we've done it at the St. Pete Shuffleboard Club. That's not the only event we do, but that's our biggest event of the year. We usually have anywhere from 400 to 500 people attend. It's bigger than my wedding for sure. So it's a lot of fun though. And for us, it's just pouring back into our clients, just having fun.
No, that's what it sounds like. It sounds like a grand time.
Yeah, it's great. And there's booze.
And there's booze. But what a cool way to just be involved in the community and your people. I mean, that shows. I mean, a lot has to happen, but you using your marketing cap and thinking of branding, that's where all this kind of stems from, just now at a grander scale.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So what else in terms of marketing? Like if we're talking to the industry right now, what trends are you seeing that make you cringe? Yeah, or just in general, what do you think is cringeworthy?
Make you cringe.
Yeah, I think it's a fun question.
Well, okay, so the side of like to answer your first part, for us, we don't do a lot of the traditional marketing. Like I don't do a lot of mailers, or I don't cold call. The only cold calling we'll do is if a client comes to me and says, "Hey, we're looking for a house in this specific neighborhood," and we know that we had a client that bought in there 6 years ago, and last conversation I had with them, they mentioned that they might be open to selling. I'll call and say, try and match. I'm playing matchmaker, trying to match up, the houses with the clients and make them fall in love.
Right. Of course, that's what you do.
But we don't do a lot of that traditional marketing. What we do is, and I don't want to call it marketing because it's not. It's to me, it is, but it isn't. It's making sure that we're treating our clients, above and beyond where anyone else would. We spoil them. I want it, like if I'm giving them something, I want to bring value to them. I want to bring joy into their lives. I want to really pour back into them because that's just who I am, who our team is, and I don't want anything to ever feel inauthentic. Like if I pour back into you as a person, like karma, it's going to come back around, and business will continue to grow, and it has. And
did you always have that mentality?
Yes.
Even before you were in the game of real estate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the previous life, being in charge of marketing, we did a lot of grassroots marketing. So it was always, bootstrap your business, feet on the pavement, go and door knock and hand out, invite people to events, things like that.
You were groomed to be in this business before you even knew it.
Yes. Yes. But and then the cringe part, I think it's when people just, to me, and it's not even a marketing thing. It's just cringy that when people go into it with just wanting to sell real estate, it's just about the sale. It's just about let me close a home and then I'm never going to talk to you again. To me, it's like you're in a relationship business. Like once you buy or sell a home with me and we become involved, we're involved. Like they're in it for life. Like you're stuck with me for life, and I'm going to be here to help you, plan for trusts and what's going to happen with your, kids. And do you want to buy a house for them when they're born? So by the time they're off to college, like they have investment, they have money to sell the home or pay for college or whatever. So I think it's just being there for life.
And some listening be like, man, how do you have time to do all that, right? To help, because you build this big world of people, 400 or 500 people coming to Steinapalooza, and now people they're coming to you for all their needs. So talk a little bit about that. Like, how are you managing the business? What's that look like for you in terms of leverage and team?
Yeah. So I'm very fortunate that we have grown a phenomenal team. We have some really special people, and they're all, I think, very similar. Like we want to be able to sleep at night. We do things the way that we would want people to do that to us. Again, it comes back to karma and just doing the right thing. It will always lead to good. Good leads to good, and good people work with good people, and they want to. But our team, like we have the most incredible admin, Chanel. She is my behind the scenes. We do these things where we pop by and we drop off presents to people, or we do competitions. We just did tickets to like the Tampa Bay Bucks. What's it called? The Bucks, not the playoff party. Where they pick the team members.
The draft?
The draft.
Yeah.
That's what. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You're like field goal.
Yeah.
I don't know. Touchdown. So we give things away. But she's my behind the scenes magic man. The man behind the green curtain, and she just does so much for us. And then we have Rose, our TC. We have my husband Brad, who's my partner with the team. We have Tony Krieger, who's absolutely phenomenal, and then Debbie Stubbs. We have a really solid group of people that they make my life easier, and I can lean on them. And together, we make the Stein Homes team.
You do. When you started in the business, did you think you would have a team?
No.
That was not the goal?
No.
So when did that become a necessity for you? Because if I'm having these conversations and being in this position that I am, I notice that there's people that need teams and they're not thinking that way.
Right. So I would say I wish I had hired my TC sooner. I am a control freak. I am a control freak through and through. And I was not comfortable handing off anything to anyone, which at the end of the day, I'm only one person. I can only be in so many places at once. And guess what? That's one place at a time. Mm-hmm. And so I hired a TC. She was my very first hire, Rose, and she helped me double my business in a year by just hiring a TC and being able to leverage and take off the behind the scenes, just the paperwork and getting signatures while I'm out actually getting to do the things I enjoy, which is work with the clients and be people facing. So.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference to not have to do all of the work. And I think it ups your level of service.
Exactly. I think it was, I don't ever want, you have these growth spurts in business, and it's like you get capped because at a point, like you're only human, and as much as we don't want to feel like we're limited, there is a point where you're like, okay, I don't want the service to suffer, but am I ready to grow? So then, after Rose came an administrative assistant, and then a buyer's agent on the team, which has really helped, and we've just continued to grow and grow. So
and you will hear the agents or industry say, well, my people only want to work with me.
Yes.
How do you handle that?
I hear that a lot. And, there are people, friends, family, and that's especially in a business where you're working on referral-based. Like everything is this person referred this person, and it just continues to snowball and grow, which is amazing. But for us, we're all trained. They all trained with me. So they're just an extension of me, whether they're getting, I'm the one opening the door or whether it's one of my agents, they're getting the same exact experience across the board. They're not getting anything lesser just because I'm physically not standing in front of them. Mm-hmm. And my hands are in every single file. I'm behind the scenes with negotiations. I just might not be the one opening the door.
Right. So that's a limiting belief.
It is a limiting belief. There are some clients, some customers that, again, they only want to work with you and they refuse, and then you just have to decide whether or not you can handle or take on additional people yourself. But at
do you turn business down?
We have, yes. Not because it was they only wanted to work with me, but maybe they weren't a fit personality-wise, or they were a past client that just wasn't a fit, and that's okay.
I think it's great, and it's just on my mind because we just had the class in here today about standards.
Yes,
and I think it's important, especially starting out. You want to take anything you can get, but then it's a fun place to be when you can say, I don't know that we're a good fit.
And it's like you're not always going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that was really hard for me because I am a people pleaser. I'm a yes woman. I'm a perfectionist, and I want to make everyone happy. I'm a middle child. It's just part of it.
So you're there to hold everyone, hold it together.
But I've come to, a friend of mine said, you can be the ripest, juiciest, most beautiful peach in the entire world, and there is still going to be someone that hates peaches.
Right. And
that has stuck with me because I was like, okay, I'm not going to be everyone's cup of tea, and they might not be mine. And by stating that up front, saying, that maybe this isn't the perfect fit, and I just want to make sure that they get the best service, and I also am not putting myself through absolute hell.
Right.
So,
I think that's one thing that's not talked about enough is the stress of being in this business. And I mean, you're on almost all the time.
yes.
You know, and people are like, oh, I just sent you a text on a Sunday evening, you and 10 others, you know, it's like it never stops. So managing that, it's definitely important to have a team to keep your sanity.
Yeah. Well, and setting expectations, I think, with, you know, during your consultation and deciding, because for me, you're not just a realtor. You're not in the business of just selling houses. You're in the business of relationships, but you have to set expectations, and it's only fair to, it's going to make everything easier, everyone happier by letting them know up front, like, hey, here's the time I'm available. When I first started, I said no. I wouldn't say no to anything. I was go, go, go all the time. I would answer my phone at midnight. You know, and there comes a point where, like, what business do you know of that is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? Okay, maybe CVS, and you're probably not getting good service.
Right. No, but
like,
it's true. It's true.
Where are you going that's 24 hours a day?
Yeah, you're not calling and that's just the emergency room. You're not calling your doctor at midnight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no such thing as an emergency in real estate either, because we know our deadlines. You know when the inspection period ends. You know when the loan approval period ends. If you're proactive, not reactive, you're always going to be 10 steps ahead anyway. So there's no such thing as an emergency in real estate, really. No, everything's fixable.
Yeah, it's not brain surgery.
I mean, it's there's a lot that goes into it.
There's a lot that goes on, but I'm saying in terms of life or death.
Correct. Yeah, no one's going to die. We just got to make sure that, you know, all the things are in place.
All the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, and we're looking ahead, and that's where wisdom and experience comes in.
Yes.
You work with some investors.
Yes.
So what's it like? Talk a little bit about that. How's that different for any agents listening right now that haven't worked with investors yet? How is working with an investor different than working with a first-time home buyer or a vacation home buyer?
Well, working with investors, it's a completely different animal, and I do feel that a lot of agents that work with investors, they tend to go that route and just work with investors because you're looking for a different type of home, you know, something that has an end buyer. There's, you know, maybe it needs work, but an end owner is going to move in there. They aren't looking to have a ton of meat on the bone. With an investor, you know, and again, I agree. You want to treat your investor like everyone else, where you're taking good care of them and you're giving them top level service. Like, we're really thorough with the investments that we work on. We do ARV reports, so after renovation value reports on the properties. We help them to determine what the home will be worth. And, you know, they're the ones coming up with what they're going to spend and what they're going to put into it. But we might say, well, you know, if you put the pool in, you know, make sure that you do this, or make sure you add a fourth bedroom because this neighborhood calls for it. And we'll help them determine the updates that they'll do. But it can be difficult. I mean, just finding the pipeline of properties that are good enough value and have enough meat on the bone, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's very time consuming, because each one of those ARVs takes, you know, 30 minutes if you're doing a good quality job at it. So it is, and say you do 20 of them in a day. That's a lot.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of time. So it's a more time consuming, and as you were saying that, I'm like, it's a niche in the market.
Yes.
Like, because is a specialty to it.
Yeah.
I don't think that's talked about enough, of how in this world and industry, just because you have a real estate license it's still so broad.
Yes. I mean, let's be very blunt here. The entry level to be a realtor is incredibly low. Like, to get your license, it's low. And I think that's why the failure rate is so high as well, is people come in and they don't realize that. They think it's easy, and it's not easy. It is. I came into it thinking it would be. I was like, oh, I got this. This is super easy. It's the hardest, most rewarding thing I've ever done. I enjoy it. I was born to do this. I love it with every ounce of my being. And I'm an investor now as well. Like, we've taken it and we've grown the company to not only just be real estate, but we're really building it to find where the gaps are in the industry across the board and go, where can we plug these holes in this and really give high level service, whether it's property management, because that's a need that we're filling now. Helping our clients do home renovations, where we already have contractors that work with our company exclusively. They come in, they can do the work, but you're getting top level quality work, and like, we don't take any cuts or anything. Those discounts get passed on to our clients.
Right.
So it's like, but investing is hard. It's not the easiest. It's finding deals that actually make sense, and, you know, also making sure that it's a fair deal. Everyone gets a win-win, both the seller and the buyer.
For sure. Yeah, that's the win-win, super important. And you know, as things shift in the market, you have to get more creative on how you find deals and where they come from. And, you know, but there's still deals to be made.
Absolutely. I think it's just situational, you know.
Yeah.
If in your situation, say you're selling a home and you don't want to deal with it, you know, it's an estate perhaps, like that we have one right now. It's an estate transaction, and they don't want to deal with it. They don't want to clean the house out. It's a hoarder home. They don't want to do anything. They just want their money and they want to move on. Like in that situation, okay, well, we'll make it easy on you. Here's a cash offer. Here's 3 cash offers. You pick which one you like, and we can help you handle that. So it's really just depending on what that client wants, what's important to them. Because sometimes it's not always the bottom line and the dollar. It's taking the stress away and making it easy.
I love asking sellers what do they need, and when especially when it's not just money.
Right. Sometimes it's not about the money. And at the end of the day, I mean, if you're giving someone a fair market offer and saying, well, look, we can absolutely put it on the market, and you know, we recommend that obviously, but if you don't want to do that and you don't want to deal with this and liability waivers and all that, then here's some cash offers and you can decide what you want to do. But we always like to give them all the facts and the information and then let them make the educated decision. We'll guide you, but at the end of the day, it's your home.
It is. We are there to guide. I think remembering that you are an expert in this field is important, right? Even if you've gone through the trainings, right? And that's where
Right.
I like to highlight that there are niches in this business, and you should, back to branding, if you want to be the real estate investor agent only, then
Right.
focus on that. Did you just fall into the investor world? Was it intentional? How did that happen?
It's a funny story. I don't know if I should share it. So I was the buyer's agent on one of their listings. And I'm going to say this particular investor that kind of started the whole thing. I think in real estate, you always have an opportunity to get into investing. And, you know, usually we're the first one at the gate, especially if we're going for a listing appointment. It's a potential investment. But in this situation, one of my top investors that I work with, I was the buyer's agent. He was the listing side. And I had written some things into the contract for my buyers just to make sure that they were protected. My contracts are tight, that's your job. Your job as your realtor, as an agent, is to make sure that your craft and your contract is your Bible. And I wrote some things into the contract that were very, very tight, protective of my clients. And
No, I'm there for me.
I was like, hello. And he had, you know, at the end of the transaction, he had said, he goes, if the way that you represented them, I want you to come represent me. And so I ended up, because he had to handle some things in the contract that were written, and I said, oh, by the way, per line, like make sure these are done, and he's like, if that's how you take care of your clients, that's how I want to work with you. And I said, okay, all right, so let's work together. And I think we've done, over 25 properties together.
Oh wait, we gotta highlight that. Like, so because you showed up as such a professional, went beyond dotting your I's and crossing your T's, and set high expectations and showed what they were to someone who was on the other side.
Yes.
It's now led to over 25 deals.
Yes.
I love that so much, and dovetails perfectly. I'll tell you why. Because the leadership staff and I in the mornings were reading the 4 Agreements. Have you read that book?
No, it's on my list.
Move it up.
Okay,
After this,
I'll move it up.
Move it up, Courtney. Move it up. But the 4th agreement is always do your best.
Yes.
And you showed up in that moment, and you were doing your best.
Yes.
Right? Imagine if you were just a little tired that day and you didn't, or, you know, 25 deals, that's significant.
Yep. Man, that's been in the last 4 years. So, and we're increasing that. I mean, this year we'll do probably 10 this year.
It's incredible. But I think there's such a lesson in that to anyone listening of you never know who's on the other side and who you're going to meet.
Yeah. No, always. And I think
that one transaction changed a lot in your business.
Yes. Yeah. No, it has. And I think if you show up to a high level and you continue to do that, whether it's on for all sides of it, because we all have the same goal. The goal is to help you get your client, get the home closed, but make sure that it's a win-win. Make sure that both sides are, protected. I made sure that my contract was airtight, and that's important.
It is important.
Yes, but it's led to a really great partnership, and we carry that. We do work with quite a few investors, but there are top investor client that we work with, and then a few others. So.
Yeah, well, and you learn from each one because everyone does something a little bit different that you can then
Absolutely.
share with the next. And
Yes.
it's a whole world.
It is. Yes.
Yeah. What do you prefer? If you had a favorite, is that fair to ask? Like
A favorite.
Do you like working first-time home buyers, investors, vacation stay people? Like if you're choosing your moment, not to say you're not good at one. Not what are you good at, but what's your? Let's think if you're putting your favorite tune on in the song in the car.
Well, I get so from an investor, I think it's because it's twofold because they're two completely different worlds.
Fair.
So from an investor's side of things, I really love squeezing equity out of homes. Like I love looking at a home and going, okay, where can we move? Like, can we add a fourth bedroom here and take this space out? Can we, if we fix this up or open this wall up, like what extra value can we squeeze out of it? Like for my husband and I, we have some rental properties. Every rental property that we have, we're adding additional living square footage and we're converting them to like every garage is getting turned into a studio apartment right now. Because it's like how in this market with some of the higher interest rates, which historically this is average, by the way, in case anyone's listening. But we're turning those into studio apartments or studios with lofts or, something like that. So with those types of investments, where can we squeeze extra equity out of it for them to make sure that it's a home run? And then also, I love the design side of things, so I love to give my input on that. And then when it comes to the standard, client that's not an investor, I really love I love buying, I love listing side, I love buy side, but when it's someone that a friend or someone that's referred to us, families, helping them get to that next stage in life, whether it's, selling their home and helping them retire. Like we had one client, gosh, I love them so much. They're just good humans. But I'm their family realtor. I've helped the entire family buy and sell homes. And they came to me, they wanted to list their home. They gave me a number. And I said, okay, well, it was $100,000 less than what I thought I could get them. I was like, no, they said, well, Zillow says this. And I said, okay, well, let me run my numbers. I said, if we go in and we paint this and we put this in and we do these on the windows and I gave them a whole checklist of the things I wanted them to do. And they were blown away, absolutely blown away that they could take the home. Not only did that sale and that extra money, we ended up getting $125,000 more than they thought they were going to get.
Because they followed your advice.
Because they followed the advice. They did, and we sent the crew and we made them do all the work. So it was, they didn't have to do anything extra other than just, talk to the contractor and do the colors we told them and things like that. But with just that little bit, like that extra money, they were able to pay off the house that they had bought with us previously, paid it off, and now they're retiring 3 years earlier. And I'm like, and they just went to Italy. So it just makes me really happy. Things like that where where we truly get to make a difference in people's lives.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a great story and shows that if it wasn't for that consultation and time that you took, it's a little extra effort.
Right.
But a huge return.
Oh, yeah. It cost them, I think they ended up spending $3,500 to get the house fixed up and ready to get that higher price point, to get $125,000
That's
more.
a good return.
Yes.
That's a good return.
Yes.
That's the power of having someone knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So at where you're producing now, helping people, doing all the fun things, what's an average day look like for you or an average week, whichever way is easier to answer?
Well, average day, average week. So my Mondays are my paperwork, get everything organized, do all my follow-ups from open houses for the week, touch base with all my sellers for listings. Tuesdays are my office meeting days. I come in, I meet with my team, we do our office meeting as well, and then I usually follow that up with doing some social media posts or checking in on stuff. And then Wednesdays and Thursdays are my listing days where because I want to shift my mind into just listing homes, because I think between shifting, if I work with a buyer or a seller, you're having different conversations. So Wednesdays and Thursdays are my listing days, and then I fit buyers in throughout the week and the evenings.
Got it.
Yep.
So you have theme days.
Pretty much, yeah. I try. In this industry, it's very hard to always stick to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to theme my days out so I can stay in the mindset for certain things. Now, again, you have to be flexible in this industry, because if you aren't, then you'll just absolutely drown.
Yeah, no, it's true. But I do like at least to have the standard and work towards it. Even having listings just on Wednesdays and Thursdays. That's
I try
helpful.
to do that.
Helpful.
I mean,
of course, you try. In a perfect world,
if
if someone
a
says you
client-
can't meet on a Tuesday, you're like, okay, I'll be there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Of
So I
course.
mean, and then Friday, Saturday, Sundays, it's usually. I used to work 7 days a week. I try to work 6 now instead of 7.
That's
but-
good. You need a day off.
Yes, but I mean, do I always get it? No, but it's fine.
Well, you should.
I
think that back to like the things of our industry and that the burnout can be real.
Yes, absolutely.
Can be really real.
Really, really real.
Really
Really real.
In the world of real estate, burnout is real.
Yes.
Breaks are important and it is hard. Do you have those types of conversations with your people? Like, do you set and not everyone does, but do you set a standard of when you're reachable or not? And do you say that this is my day off or no? Some agents do, but some don't.
With our team, with my team members, I'm always available if but again, there's no if there's an emergency, which again, there's no emergencies in real estate, but there shouldn't be. But my team can reach me at any point. Our clients, I try to tell them like, hey, after 8:00, unless now if I'm negotiating a deal and I'm trying to get you under contract on your home, I'll work until 3 a.m. if I have to, which it rarely happens, but sometimes it does. I will stay up as long as I need, but on average, usually I try to stop working around 8. Whether that actually happens.
See how often does that happen?
There's times where, like the other night I was negotiating until about midnight and we were going back and forth on a contract. We got it buttoned up like right after midnight. So,
oof.
Yes. But that's part of it.
It's dedication.
Yes.
It's dedication.
I was like,
not to say I haven't done
missing
it.
this
No. Yeah. I mean, I think negotiation's the thrill
Yes.
for me.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Someone asked me that the other day. What part of it do you like the most? And I said the negotiation.
Yeah.
That's
The negotiation part's fun.
if I could just do that. If there was like the singular point, if I was playing my favorite tune, it'd be the negotiation because that's where you create the win-win.
Right. Yeah. Listen, it's like everybody has a number. Everybody has where they're comfortable. And it also depends on like the desire and that motivation of like that seller. You could have a seller and you could make them an offer. And then a week later, oh, hey, something happened in their life that completely changed their motivation and they have to move now quicker or, now they're not going to sell at all. So it depends on the point in time that you talk to that person and what their motivation is.
Let's shift gears a little bit. I think I prompted you early for this question.
Oh, no.
Share a funny moment in the business.
Oh, there's so many. Which one do you want?
Give us a few. What's like something like, and I like this because again, you get into this, you don't think that some of these things will happen, but when you are in the people business and you have encounters with so many different humans, you realize, whoa.
Oh God, I'm like, they're all embarrassing.
Yeah, no,
They're
it's
all
fantastic.
really
I love it. I love it. Come on, let's get some good laughs.
Oh, all right. So we had a home inspection for our clients and we were representing the buyers and we get there and the agent cannot get his lockbox open, cannot get the key into the house. And we already have the home inspector there. We're just waiting on this agent who's now there, can't figure out his lockbox, couldn't remember his code. I don't know what his situation was. I think so, hence very low entry level. And so I was like, well, they're going to charge my clients for the visit and then to come back out. And we were on a short inspection period. So I said, no, I'm going to B&E right now. We're breaking and entering. So I climbed through the doggy door to get into the house. I went around the back. I was like looking around if there were any open windows. Totally would have gotten arrested had it not been for like a group of people there. So I stick my head into the doggy door, and there are 2 dogs on the other side of the doggy door that the owners had left there while they stepped out. And luckily they were sweet, but I had stuck my head in and I was like halfway through, and then there's 2 dogs like facing me on the other side. So luckily they were fine,
right.
But it could have been a different story.
Could have been a different story.
But yeah, so like I reached in and unlocked it and then
got it done.
Yeah, so maybe lesson is block your doggy doors so Courtney doesn't break into your
Right, because Courtney's coming through.
coming through. Yes. Yeah. So that was one, and then another one I like ran into it. I wasn't paying attention and I walked into an iron chandelier and hit my head really hard
no.
in front of my client. I had to like pretend like I was fine.
No, I'm fine. Everything's fine.
I'm not concussed. It's
Yeah.
fine. So yeah, so that was super embarrassing, but they bought the house, so it's fine.
Oh, that's next time wear a hard hat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I am very klutzy, so yeah.
So what do you think about the current state of St. Pete, Tampa area? What do you hear, feel, see that's happening in our current market?
Well, I think it's important to know, like, St. Pete particularly, I'm a Tampa Bay native. I've been here my whole life. I moved away for a little bit. It was too rainy there. Came back. We have a really special, like St. Pete, Tampa Bay, it's a special pocket. And I don't think, until you've been here, you don't really know. So I'm like, don't tell anybody else. We're full. We're good. Because, you know, to me, it's like a mini Austin, mini Nashville. It's very, like, colorful and vibrant, and we have music and food, and just we've got this perfect blend of like big city but little town feel. And so I think that's really, and you have water everywhere, which I'm a water baby. And so it's just this, I call it my little magical town, but it's a magical town. And, you know, so we've continued to grow. It's definitely, I don't think it's lost its charm. You know, I think we're, as we grow, they're doing a good job of maintaining the charm. But in St. Pete, there's micro markets. In Tampa Bay, there's very micro markets. So, you know, when people talk about real estate as a whole, I'm like, no, you need to be paying attention to, and with my investors as well, and with my primary home buyers, it's this micro market here. You can charge a higher premium for your home because it's this pocket and you're a block from the water, or you're this or you're that. So it's not saying, well, hey, the numbers in Tampa Bay as a whole are this. It's no, let's get hyper focused and really focus on the micro markets.
I'm lost for words at the moment because I'm like, you're so accurate.
Yes.
So accurate.
I'm right.
Yes.
Yes, I'm right.
You are. Well, it's true because one, our overall area is a local market that's insulated just
Yes.
because of being Florida.
Correct.
And people wanting to come here. And then you get granular down to neighborhoods. I mean, there's some neighborhoods you can't, a home barely lasts on the market.
Right. You have streets.
Right.
Not even a full neighborhood. I mean, there's two streets in a specific neighborhood where, I mean, you put something on there and it's gone in 6 hours. And then you have other homes where, you know, your client's like, well, why isn't mine moving? And it takes the average, 78 days
Right,
on market.
you're on the wrong block.
Yeah, well, and it is what it is, and it's not to say like there's a buyer for every single home. It's just a matter of like prepping the property properly. I could say that 3 times. Prepping the property properly.
Whoa.
But prepping the property properly, and then pricing it strategically, making sure that everything is going to show in its very best light. Because in this market, buyers are being more selective as well. So not only now they're not going to just take whatever they can. You know, when the market was absolutely bananas and interest rates were 2% and they, it was basically free money, now they have to sit there and be choosy because their buying power has been affected, as well as, the buying power with everything going on with NAR settlements and, and the insurance rates. All of those things are going up in Florida, so it's affecting those buyers' ability to purchase a home. So it's just making sure that you're doing everything you can in your listings to make it shine, but also paying attention to your micro markets and not looking at the big picture. You have to kind of zoom out.
The buying power is a big thing, and rates and buyers are definitely picky.
Yes, and they can be, and they
have the right to be. And there's more inventory at this moment as of June 25th, 2024.
Yes,
we have double the inventory than what we had last year.
Yes.
However, average home prices are still higher than they were last year.
Right.
What do you think about that?
Well, it's interesting, though, because if you look at the numbers, again, you have to break it down. And it's like, well, condos and townhomes, they're up 91% in inventory. Mm-hmm. So it's like that number is also skewing the single-family home numbers as well, because we do have more single-family homes. But if you're looking at, okay, well, we have 91% here and say, 40% here, you're going to come out with your average. So it's like you have to look at condos, townhomes, single-family homes. We do have more inventory. We're signing listings left and right, but we are still putting them under contract. It's really just pricing your home strategically. I don't like to overprice my listing so you can negotiate down.
No, I'd rather do it the other way.
Yeah, do it the other way. Price it where it's going to sell and get it under contract. If a home is worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it. So if you price your home strategically and then we get 8 offers on it, the price is going to organically carry it up because the market's going to place the home where it should be.
Supply and demand.
Exactly. It's basic economics, like
Yes.
supply and demand. Right now we have a lot of supply. We have more than we did. We still do have a shortage, though, compared to the number of people that have moved to Florida since COVID. So,
but I think now what I'm seeing is that the homes that are in the top 20% in terms of condition are the ones that are moving. That middle range is sitting, struggle city, and then the bottom, of course, that's your investor specials and things like that. They'll still move, and it is a different type of conversation. I just was on an appointment with someone that's in the middle, and it's like, it's not that your home's not like you can't move into it and everything's fine, but it's not.
It's not turnkey.
It's not turnkey. Updated 2024,
right?
And that's a tough spot, I think, to consult a seller to let them know, I'm not insulting your home.
Right.
It's not that it's bad. It's just not. Let's look at this one that's brand new, and pricing that appropriately is definitely interesting.
Well, I think it's being the professional associate, being, like for us, I'm not just your realtor. I'm your guide. You have a financial advisor, you have, your accountant, you have all these different advisors in your life. Like, I'm your real estate advisor. I'm advising you this. Like, look, it's your home. You can do anything you want to do. You could price it for $1 million. Doesn't mean it'll appraise. It's worth 300. Right. It's like, and it's hard for clients to take the emotion out of it, because buying and selling a home is super emotional. It's where you're raising, building, growing. It's where you have your family. So I think it's just a matter of painting the picture and explaining to them, like, we do a good job of showing them, like, we'll take a seller into some homes that are for sale in the neighborhood and go, well, this one's fully updated, but yours is not, and this is the price that they have. It's the same price you want to list at. So it's really helping them to understand the market. And at the end of the day, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink.
True.
And
but people do need help making decisions.
Yes.
Like, even in the framework of thinking about lining up. Okay, well, you wanted this, then this, then this.
Right.
Helping them clear their thoughts. It's powerful. Well, I think you've given us a great insight into your expertise on real estate. But outside, when you're not selling homes or doing consults or, helping your investors, what do you like to do outside of working?
So somebody recently asked me, they said, what brings you joy?
Yes. What brings you joy?
And I was like, let me think about that. Because I really enjoy real estate. I enjoy working. I enjoy finding deals and helping people. And so that it does bring me joy, and I get a lot of fulfillment. But, for the burnout piece, boating. I love being out on the water. I love being at the sandbar. I love boating. I love my dogs. I love my husband and my family.
Love that.
You sound like a Hallmark card. But yeah, and I love to travel. Like, the things that fill my cup. Like, we're getting ready to do a trip to the Keys.
Nice.
And and I'm very blessed that I can still negotiate contracts, and I'm going to try and take a few days off, actually, where I don't work.
Good.
I know. Who am I? But we're going to, we try to do a Keys trip once a year. We go fishing. My husband wants to tarpon fish.
Nice.
So.
That's good. That's good. And even if any of your amazing clients are listening, she deserves the time off, and you should want her to take it so she can come back refreshed and better for you.
Right. That's right.
I think it's important that people hear that.
Yes.
One last thing. I ask everyone this, doesn't matter what podcast we're on. What's your favorite place to eat in St. Pete?
Ooh. What type of food?
Nope. What's your favorite? It's your birthday. Where are we going?
Okay. Favorite place to eat? I'm going to give you a couple because I can't pick.
Fair.
All right. Hook Sushi. If you're going to get sushi, the best sushi, and you have to get the Shaggy Dog Roll.
Okay.
It's the best. And oh gosh, I don't know. We'll say sushi for now. That's
okay.
I'm not going to give you more.
No.
Oh, Thai Am for Thai food.
Okay. See, there it comes. There it is.
That one's really good.
Thai. I haven't had either one of those said, so that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Courtney Stein, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your light and your wisdom and all the awesome things that you have going on in your world. It's a pleasure. We're lucky to have you in the industry. If anyone's interested in learning more about you, how can they get in touch with you? What's the best way? Social media, email, postcard?
Yeah, they can send a express rail to me, my AOL account.
Right.
No, they can email me at courtalbert@gmail.com, or they can find me on Instagram or Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. Courtney Stein, folks. Thank you all for watching. Like, share, post it, tell a friend, do all the fun things. Oh, I forgot this. If they're still with us, the diehards that are still listening, one word they should comment below so we know they're still here. One word. What's one word they should put in the comment section?
No, you pick one.
No, this is your show.
One word that they comment in the...
Yes.
I don't know.
Comment, I don't know.
Comment, I don't know.
IDK.
No. IDK.
IDK. If you're still here, I don't know.
IDK.
We'll see you in the next one. Thanks, everybody.
There you go.
That was good.
Good job.